guys ready to film this video? Big breath. We're going to relive this again. It has taken us many days, coming on a week, to film this because I just don't think we were ready to talk about it. It really took a minute for our stomachs to settle, and I didn't want to sit and cry during the video, so I'm going to try really, really hard to like disassociate
and not cry.
But it might not be possible. So we're going to set the scene first of all. So we get up Saturday morning. I still have stitches in. My lip is still swollen. I'm sick. And I'm telling Joel, I'm like, Joel, I really want to go check on the house with you because his plan was to go check on the house. And I was like, I'm sick. I don't want to leave you with the kids. Like, I feel like a loser, blah, blah, blah. I'm like crying. And he was just like, stay home, just stay home. And you know how when you make a decision that like instantly you know if it's right or wrong? I was like, okay, I'll stay home. And then I was like, no, I'm coming. I don't care if I'm sick. I took Dramamine, I took Dayquil, and we drove up to Logan. We checked on the house. It like looks incredible.
It was kind of warm outside a little bit. Like, it was sunny. It was just a nice day. But I wanted to go to Logan for two reasons. I really wanted to go to the kitchen store there in Logan because I wanted to try a new recipe of au gratin potatoes from Sam the Cooking Guy anyway, but I knew I needed to buy a mandolin, and I thought, well, yeah, this is a great time to buy a mandolin, and I know where to go get one, so we'll just drive over there as a family and go get one.
Conversations that Joel and I have had before, the reason we don't even own one is because we've always had little kids, and they're dangerous, and so we've never bought one for the reason that we know they're dangerous. So Joel went in to pick one out, and there was a more expensive one with a hand guard and then a cheaper one without the hand guard. And obviously he was like, okay, we want to get the one with the hand guard. So we paid extra for the one with the hand guard. And then we drove home.
And everybody zonked out on the way home. Like, half the kids were asleep. When we got home to the house, Bonnie and Lincoln were actually still asleep in the car. So I was like, well, we'll just let them sleep in the car. Us kids will come in.
How long did we sleep for?
Probably 45 minutes.
Yeah. So we like slept for about 45 minutes. And then when I came in, Lincoln had already come in the house, and he had already fallen asleep again. I even made some stories showing Lincoln falling asleep
right next to the fireplace.
Right next to the fireplace. And it was like his third nap of the day. Like, he was so tired.
I was like a baby.
Yeah, you were like a little baby.
Well, it was because on Friday night we were just up all night.
You stayed up till like probably past midnight, and this kid never stays up that late. So,
well, I've stayed up till like 4 o'clock on New Year.
Okay. I can't smile that big yet. So I came in, and it was just like quiet. Where were the kids?
The big kids were downstairs, I think.
I think the two boys were outside.
The two boys were gone.
Yeah, the two boys were gone with their friends. Olivia was downstairs. I was sitting here on the couch. Lincoln was still asleep.
I was on that couch.
We brought the mandolin in and put it on the counter. And we said, let's sit the kids down and have a talk with them and go over how no kids are allowed to use it. Like, we had this conversation, but the kids weren't all home, and so we were waiting for them to get home.
And wake up and...
Yeah, so you were laying on the couch. Aunt Linda called me while Lincoln was still asleep, and so I was sitting here talking to Aunt Linda. In the meantime, you got up, and what were you thinking when you went in the kitchen?
So when I was kind of hungry when I woke up, so I just got an orange, and
you went in the kitchen and got an orange. I wasn't paying attention because my attention was on Aunt Linda. The house was quiet, it was warm, the fireplace was on, the sun was shining through. And as I'm talking to Aunt Linda, who noticed Lincoln first? Was it you or me?
I'm not sure. I think I did, because he came running out of the kitchen, and I immediately just darted up and knew I had to go look at her. Because I thought, oh, it must be small or whatever. I didn't know.
Well, what I remember seeing very first was Lincoln slowly walking out of the kitchen and towards us. And you know when you're like, have soapy hand water and you're trying to grab a towel and you don't want to drip? You know that way you hold your hands so that they don't drip? He was holding his hand like that. And even though I was on the phone with Aunt Linda, I said, did you cut yourself? And just the look on his face, I said, Joel, did he cut himself? And before I could even finish that sentence, two things happened. Joel was already halfway to the kitchen, like he got up fast because your mind automatically knew what tool was in the kitchen, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Oh, yeah.
And I had Linda upset on the phone. And because if she only catches a little glimmer of something, it upsets her because she's like, well, what's going on? Like, I heard you say this. And so I was just trying to stay really calm because it was just like the feeling in the air just shifted.
Oh, yeah.
It went from like waking up from naps to sheer just like
emergency.
And I hate talking about it.
My back is just, it's sending tingles
it really
down my
does.
spine.
And so
and usually Aunt Linda can't, when we say it loud, she's like, huh?
And so I very quickly got off the phone with her. And Joel, at this time,
first thing I did was when I ran to him, I didn't know how bad, but I did see blood. So I thought, okay. So I just picked him up. We ran into the laundry room. And the moment he put his hand in the sink for me to like start rinsing it or whatnot, I immediately grabbed the hand towel, packed it on there and said, we got to go.
Yeah. So I hung up with Aunt Linda. And when I walked towards the laundry room, I heard you say, we need to go to the emergency room right now. And I went like this. I was just like, oh no. And Joel goes, Bonnie, get it together. He goes, get the keys. I was like, okay. So I got the keys and Joel said, ooh, he goes, what did you say? We're like, did you even say anything? I think he just went over to it and he like got a baggie. So I picked Lincoln up. I was carrying Lincoln like this, like a baby. And he was holding the bandage on his hand. And Joel was getting a plastic sack and grabbed something from under the mandolin, put it in a baggie.
With ice.
Yeah, with ice, handed it to me, and we got in the car and went. And no, you kept the bag up front with you.
Bag up front.
And so I didn't know how bad. And so, I know, I was really worried about the ice. And so I called the emergency room and asked them, if you like cut the tip of your pinky off, you know, I'm bringing my son in, I have the tip of his pinky, do I put it on ice? And she's like, no ice. So we got rid of the ice, got to the ER, it was packed.
So busy. We
waited, and then when they brought us back, the doctor, when he first came in, I like gave him the baggie. He was like, he's just like, no.
It's no good.
Yeah.
No good.
He's like, there's nothing for us to, so we said goodbye to it, and we threw it in the garbage can.
And then there was this guy who was like screaming, and you had to like put your hands in foot on the door because he was getting close to our door and we did not want him to come in.
That's right. There was a really big commotion.
They had put us in a different room, luckily, to start getting him numb for whatever they were going to do. So we were out of the main lobby area after a few minutes. And yeah, we thought the guy was going to come through the door because there was a major disturbance out in the lobby. I was holding Lincoln at the time, cradling him in my arm. And I put my foot on the door, held my hands on the door, and because I'm just like, you will not come in this room and disrupt my baby. Anyway, so...
And like there was a lot of like old people that had like big like cuts and stuff, but there was just most of the people were just sick. So by this point, the doctor had come in, and when he very first looked at Lincoln's pinky, Joel went white as a ghost, and he got on the floor, put his feet up. While the doctor was in there. And he didn't even pay you 2 cents of attention. And I think it was just so chaotic and busy in the ER that night. And he was just like, Dad's fine. He's got his feet up. Yeah, he's fine. And so
he first looked at Lincoln's pinky and it was bleeding so much that he couldn't tell. Like he was trying to look at it and manipulate it and it was bleeding way too much. So he had put a tourniquet on his pinky, put some numbing gel on it. And did that hurt when you put the numbing gel on?
It kind of sting. I was like,
yeah, the very first time they put the numbing cream on, Lincoln started crying really hard.
no, I wasn't crying.
Well, the first time you did, and then what did you do?
Mid-cry.
Mid-cry. Look right at the camera. Mid-cry. This is the face he makes. I was like, what in the Joker?
I know.
And it did like break the tension and everyone, it was the comedic relief everybody needed. So that was nice. An hour later, he comes back in, puts more numbing cream on, leaves. An hour later, he comes back in.
And then some dripped on my pants, and I wiped it on one of my fingers, so then that one would get numb.
Yeah. So Lincoln was,
good
acting,
spirits the entire time.
Unless he was thinking about it. When he was distracted, he was fine.
And I couldn't. If I saw it, I would be sick to my stomach.
Yeah, at this point, none of us had even looked at it. We couldn't.
Well, I was holding him when the doctor was first coming in.
And when there was
and that's what made me go white as a ghost, because I could see it. Got my composure back, whatever.
Oh yeah, and
then he came back in. It's pretty much every time he'd come in to like check on it, manipulate it a little bit to check on it. Did me in every time.
Yeah, Joel was on the floor 2 or 3 separate times.
Just 2 times, but it was
2
brutal
times.
enough.
So once it was completely numbed, the bleeding had stopped enough for him to look at it. He came in and he was like, I was really hoping that we would get stitches.
But at the start, when the girl was gonna put cast stuff on it.
Oh yeah.
My stomach hurt so bad because all the air would go in and hurt my stomach, and
if the air touched it.
Yeah, and then I had to throw up, but I didn't.
Yeah, the whole time he was pretty green as well.
Oh yeah, there were several points. I mean, he had a barf bag. He was ready for it. He was sweaty, clammy, white, green.
And at the end, when we were starting to leave, I put my whole entire hand in the barf bag.
Yeah, then the barf bag became a toy. We were hoping that we would be able to stitch it because that's easier to take care of. But he told us, he's like, there's not enough skin to take from one side and the other and stitch it together, or this way to stitch it together. And so he's like, it has to just heal on its own, and you're gonna have to do wound care until it heals.
Or you put a little bit of glue on it, so then super glue.
Really expensive super glue.
Yep, really expensive medical grade super glue, and he covered the whole thing. And so currently he has it's almost like a hard shell over the whole tip of his pinky.
But then it wouldn't be able to breathe.
Yep, and then we've got a breathable bandage system going on. And when
I was going to say, the Band-Aid really kind of takes away it looks so simple, but it's like, that is a very serious.
Yeah, and I think that's what made me so worried about sending him to school. And so that was Saturday night.
We would not want bacteria to get in it, because then it would get infected.
Yeah, good job.
We really are worried about infection. He's up to date with all of his shots and things, and so the doctor said if it looks like it becomes infected, then we'll do antibiotics. But in the meantime, just keep it clean. And then about 5-6-ish days after the glue will come off on its own, and we'll just let that do its thing. We won't peel it, we won't pick at it, anything like that.
It'll just come off on its own.
And we're not to touch it, right? We're not touching it, we're not showing people, because you know how kids are at school. I just don't want you taking the Band-Aid off yourself.
But people can kind of see it through the breathing part.
Yeah.
What do they think?
Yeah, have you shown anyone?
I've shown a couple people.
And what did they say?
Ugh.
But when I showed a kid and he was rolling, he was like, "No, I'm not giving you the ball for that."
You're like, fine, me and my 9 fingernails, and we'll leave. So Sunday, Lincoln and I stayed home from church. Everybody went. And then, we were just sick to our stomachs. It was just I think the thought of it mostly. I was worried sick sending him to school Monday, but he did really good. He only got kicked in the hand one time, and so it was bleeding through, and that was hard to change the bandage, and I don't do well when my kids get hurt. So today was yesterday was a whole lot better. No one
and today it didn't even hurt, except for when I was coughing. The pressure would.
The pressure hurt.
Aunt Ellie, she sent me this. So you're supposed to put like a soccer or this thing that's printed, and you can get another piece of paper and trace it over it. And I got one that.
She also sent a bunch of Crayola stuff.
And it's one where like it has all the markers, pencils. This one I've been working on because
Who sent you this one?
Grandma and Grandpa Griffiths, and they sent me this one.
Are those all gone?
Oh, they are completely gone. They sent another bag this size of different ones.
They're like little mini chews.
And those are completely gone. You can see he's just kind of spread his things out here. Should we tell him what Uncle Julie and Uncle Landon brought you? They brought you some M&Ms.
Yeah, a big bag of M&Ms.
And
these.
some protein.
But I haven't had mine today.
All right. Uncle Landon was saying how you need to get lots of protein because that's what's going to help your finger heal, huh?
And they made me a card, but Cooper did one without a nail on the pinky.
Missing some of the pinky.
Missing all the pinky.
It's a very accurate description, actually. When we text Uncle Bo, he said that Henry got really teary-eyed and got really sad for you. So they're sending their love, huh? Lots of your...
Yeah, my siblings were pretty concerned, huh?
So that is the story time of our insane weekend, huh, sweetie? Yep. Okay, it actually feels really good to have this off our plate because I was not looking forward to talking about it, but I think we did pretty good.
Now everybody in the world knows
whoever watches our video, huh? Okay, we'll see you later.